Welcome to my channel, Old Coins History 333. In this video, I tell you about the United States of America Roosevelt $1, which are most valuable and rare. If you interested, please subscribe my channel. Thanks. Top 1. In 1967, a seemingly ordinary dime left the U.S. Mint and made its way into the hands of thousands of Americans. This dime, however, was far from ordinary. It became part of a complex historical story that would capture the attention of collectors and coin enthusiasts alike for decades. What sets this coin apart? Why does it continue to be sought after, even today? And most intriguingly, what makes it worth so much money? Join me on a journey to unravel the rich history and mysterious allure of the 1967 Roosevelt dime. One of the most fascinating coins in American numismatics. It all begins with Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt was a leader who defined much of the first half of the 20th century, guiding the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. His leadership made an indelible mark on the country, and to honor his legacy, the U.S. Treasury decided to feature him on the dime after his death in 1945. The decision was made not long after Roosevelt passed away from a long battle with illness. His image would grace the dime for decades to come, shaping its identity and significance in American culture. But let's rewind even further. Before Roosevelt, the dime featured the image of a figure from ancient Rome, Liberty. Designed by famed artist Adolf A. Weinman, this version of the dime had been in circulation since 1916. It was known as the Mercury dime because Liberty was depicted wearing a winged cap, which resembled the Roman god Mercury. However, in 1945, the U.S. Mint sought to update the design, and Roosevelt's likeness was chosen as the replacement. The public was very much in favor of honoring their late president, and so the Roosevelt dime was born. Now, fast forward to 1967. The coin had undergone some design adjustments over the years, but by the late 1960s, the Roosevelt dime was still a symbol of American history. Its design was relatively simple compared to other coins, yet it was unmistakable. Roosevelt's profile was captured in sharp detail, facing left with his signature hairstyle and a solemn expression. On the reverse side of the coin, you'd find a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength respectively. The coin had remained largely unchanged, and people were accustomed to its presence in everyday transactions. But 1967 would be a pivotal year for this coin, thanks to a rare series of events that would make the 1967 Roosevelt dime stand out from the rest. The U.S. Mint had recently been facing a growing shortage of silver, a problem that was becoming more evident by the late 1960s. Silver was an essential component of many U.S. coins, including the dime, which contained 90% silver. As the price of silver surged, the government had to act quickly to reduce the amount of silver used in minting coins. The U.S. Mint started experimenting with using less silver in the coinage, and it was around 1965 that the Mint began producing clad coins, which were composed of a combination of copper and nickel, rather than pure silver. However, 1967 was a year that marked a shift in the minting process. In some rare cases, the Mint continued producing silver dimes, making them incredibly sought after by collectors. These 1967 silver dimes weren't meant to be released, but due to minting errors, a small number of them made it into circulation. Most of the 1967 dimes were indeed clad, but a few exceptional silver examples snuck through, creating an almost mythical status among coin collectors. The question on everyone's mind: could you find one of these silver dimes in your pocket change? Well, you certainly could, but the odds were slim. The scarcity of these silver 1967 dimes helped to fuel their appeal. The U.S. Mint never formally acknowledged that any 1967 dimes were produced with silver, but the rumors persisted, and over time, the legend of the 1967 Roosevelt silver dime grew. Coin collectors began scouring for these rare dimes, looking through bags of change, hoping to find one of these elusive pieces of history. A coin that, for all intents and purposes, was supposed to be a part of the past, suddenly became a treasure trove of value. As more and more people started to hear about the potential value of the 1967 Roosevelt silver dime, demand surged. The rarity of the coin, combined with its symbolic ties to the presidency of Roosevelt and its connection to the dwindling silver supply, made it highly sought after. Dealers and collectors alike began to pay significant premiums for the coin. The scarcity of these silver dimes, paired with their place in American history, turned them into a hot commodity. Now, what about the value of the 1967 Roosevelt dime in today's market? We're not talking about just any 1967 dime here. The clad versions are still common and worth their face value of 10 cents. But those rare silver versions? Well, they've skyrocketed in value. Today, a 1967 Roosevelt silver dime can fetch anywhere from a few $100s to over $100,000, Depending on its condition and provenance, it's hard to believe. But one of these rare dimes, in exceptional condition, has been sold for as much as $115,700. Yes, you heard that correctly. $115,700 for a single dime. What makes these coins so valuable is their rarity, as only a small number of them were ever minted, and even fewer have survived in pristine condition. If you happen to come across a 1967 Roosevelt silver dime, it's not just a piece of pocket change. It could be your ticket to a small fortune. What makes this even more remarkable is the way that rare coins can gain value over time. Unlike most objects, coins are often preserved in excellent condition for decades or even centuries, allowing them to retain or even appreciate in value. Coins like the 1967 Roosevelt silver dime are particularly prized by collectors for their historical significance, their rarity, and the excitement of potentially stumbling upon one of these hidden gems in everyday life. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or a casual coin enthusiast, the 1967 Roosevelt dime is a reminder of the fascinating world of numismatics and the incredible stories hidden in our pockets. The next time you hold a dime in your hand, think about the history behind it. Could it be one of those rare silver dimes from 1967? Or is it just another piece of change? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure. This dime will forever be a testament to the lasting legacy of President Franklin D. Roosevelt and the fascinating world of American coins. In conclusion, the 1967 Roosevelt dime is more than just a piece of currency. It's a symbol of American history, a testament to the craftsmanship of the U.S. Mint, and a potential treasure waiting to be uncovered. The mystery surrounding its silver variants has captivated coin collectors for years, and the high values these dimes have reached prove just how intriguing the world of numismatics can be. So, the next time you're sorting through your spare change or browsing through a coin shop, remember the story of the 1967 Roosevelt dime. Who knows? You might just hold a $115,700 treasure in your hands. Top 2. In 1987, the United States Mint produced a dime that would not only represent a crucial moment in American history, but would also go on to capture the imagination of collectors and coin enthusiasts worldwide. The 1987 Roosevelt dime, a seemingly ordinary coin in the world of U.S. currency, carries with it a fascinating story and an unexpected twist that would elevate its status in the world of numismatics. But what makes this particular dime so significant? How did it evolve from just another piece of currency to a sought-after collectible with an extraordinary value? In this video, we'll delve deep into the history, design, minting process, and, most importantly, the tremendous value of the 1987 Roosevelt dime. So, sit back and let's explore this fascinating chapter in the story of American coinage. Let's begin by taking a step back to understand the history of the Roosevelt dime itself. First minted in 1946, just a year after the death of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, the Roosevelt dime was designed as a tribute to the late president, who had served the country through some of its most difficult times, including the Great Depression and World War II. Roosevelt's legacy was one of hope and resilience, and the U.S. Treasury decided that his image would be a fitting representation on the dime. The initial design of the Roosevelt dime was crafted by the renowned artist John R. Sinek, who was also the chief engraver at the U.S. Mint. Sinek's design was simple yet striking. Roosevelt's profile, facing left, captured with incredible detail, reflecting his calm and composed demeanor. On the reverse side, a torch, olive branch, and oak branch symbolized liberty, peace, and strength, values that resonated deeply with the American people. Throughout the years, the Roosevelt dime remained largely unchanged in terms of design. However, the 1987 version stands out due to several factors that would make it both an important part of American coinage and a future collectible treasure. The 1987 dime, like its predecessors, was made from a copper-nickel-clad composition. However, what truly elevates this specific year's coin into the numismatic spotlight is the way it was produced. By the mid-1980s, the U.S. Mint had already switched over to a more standardized method of production for most coins, including the dime. The 1987 dimes were minted at 3 different facilities: the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. Each facility had its own methods and technologies, which, in some cases, produced slight variations in the coins. While these differences might seem minor to the casual observer, to a collector, they were incredibly important. Variations in minting techniques and small discrepancies between coins minted in different locations would go on to fuel the excitement surrounding the 1987 Roosevelt dimes. The most noteworthy characteristic of the 1987 dimes was their production run. While these coins weren't produced in small quantities, after all, the U.S. Mint made billions of dimes that year. What made the 1987 Roosevelt dime stand out was a combination of factors that turned it into a collector's gem. The year marked the continuation of the practice of coin-clad production, and by this point, many coins were minted with a focus on efficiency and cost-effectiveness. As a result, the quality control process was somewhat looser than in previous years, leading to some interesting anomalies and errors. One of the most intriguing errors associated with the 1987 Roosevelt dime is the double die variety. This occurs when the coin is struck twice, resulting in a blurred or overlapping image. Double die coins are rare and highly coveted by collectors, as they present a glimpse into the sometimes unpredictable nature of coin production. While the 1987 Roosevelt dimes weren't intentionally minted with double dies, some examples of this error made their way into circulation. These errors, albeit rare, are what sparked an interest among collectors, as they added a layer of mystery and value to an otherwise mass-produced coin in addition to the double die error. Another reason the 1987 Roosevelt dime garnered attention was because of its unique place in history. By the mid-1980s, many of the older coins in circulation, especially those made from precious metals like silver, had long since been replaced with clad versions. The 1987 dimes were some of the last examples of U.S. currency to be minted without the inclusion of precious metals, signaling the end of an era for coin collectors who had grown accustomed to coins containing higher metal content. For these collectors, the 1987 dime represented a final piece of the puzzle, a final connection to the earlier history of American coins. Fast forward to today, and the 1987 Roosevelt dime holds a place in the hearts of collectors. While the vast majority of these dimes are worth only their face value of 10 cents, a small number of exceptional specimens have sold for incredibly high prices. The most valuable of these coins are the ones that possess minting errors, such as the double die or those that are in pristine condition, coins that have been well preserved over time. While it's not common to find a 1987 Roosevelt dime worth more than $1, certain rare examples have sold for as much as $92,700, making this coin one of the most surprising success stories in the world of numismatics. What makes the 1987 Roosevelt dime worth such a jaw-dropping amount of money? The value of a coin is largely determined by its rarity, condition, and historical significance. In the case of the 1987 Roosevelt dime, the rarity comes from the limited number of errors that occurred during its minting process. Coins that feature double die errors or other minting anomalies are highly desirable because they represent the human element in coin production, the imperfections that occur when machinery and craftsmanship meet. These errors make the coins unique, turning them into valuable collector's items. Furthermore, the condition of the coin plays a crucial role in determining its value. A coin in perfect or near-perfect condition, free of scratches, dents, or other signs of wear, will always command a premium price. This is why coins that have been carefully preserved, whether in specialized holders or other protective storage, tend to fetch higher prices at auction. In fact, a 1987 Roosevelt dime in near uncirculated condition, or one that has been graded at a high level, could be worth thousands of dollars, even if it doesn't feature a minting error. But the 1987 Roosevelt dime's allure doesn't end with its rarity and condition. There's something almost magical about the idea of discovering a coin that holds such historical significance. This particular dime is a piece of the late 20th century, a token of a time when America was navigating through its modern challenges, and its minting reflected the country's ongoing evolution. The Roosevelt dime is forever associated with the leadership of Franklin D. Roosevelt and the legacy of his presidency, which adds an extra layer of value to collectors who are passionate about U.S. history. Today, the 1987 Roosevelt dime serves as a reminder of how small details in the world of numismatics can lead to big rewards. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and in the case of the 1987 Roosevelt dime, those surprises have turned into a truly remarkable treasure. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a newcomer to the world of coins, the 1987 Roosevelt dime offers a fascinating glimpse into the world of American currency and the stories hidden in every coin. In conclusion, the 1987 Roosevelt dime stands as a testament to the fascinating world of coin collecting. While it may seem like an ordinary piece of currency at first glance, its history, design, and the few rare errors that occurred during its minting process have made it one of the most valuable and sought-after dimes in American numismatics. With a potential value of up to $92,700, this coin is a reminder of how a simple dime can carry with it the weight of history, the thrill of discovery, and the possibility of great reward. So, the next time you find yourself holding a 1987 Roosevelt dime, remember, you might just be holding a small fortune in your hands. Top 3. In 1979, a seemingly unremarkable coin made its way into the hands of millions of Americans, little knowing that it would go on to capture the attention of numismatists and collectors decades later. The Roosevelt dime from this year might seem like just another piece of everyday currency, but beneath its surface lies a fascinating history, an intriguing design, and a rarity that would make it a highly sought-after collectible. But what makes the 1979 Roosevelt dime so special? Why does it stand out in the world of American coinage, and how did it come to be worth an astonishing $108,700 today? Join me as we unravel the story behind this remarkable coin, from its historical roots to its surprising rise in value. Let's first take a step back and understand the background of the Roosevelt dime itself. First minted in 1946, the Roosevelt dime was introduced to honor the late Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt's leadership during the Great Depression and World War II had left a lasting impact on the nation, and the U.S. Treasury decided that his image would be a fitting tribute. The coin was designed by renowned engraver John R. Sinnock, who captured Roosevelt's likeness in profile, facing left, with a look of quiet determination and wisdom. The reverse side of the coin features a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength, respectively. The Roosevelt dime quickly became a staple in American currency, and for more than 3 decades, it largely remained unchanged. However, by the late 1970s, a combination of factors would set the stage for the 1979 Roosevelt dime to stand out from the rest. This year marked a particularly interesting period in U.S. coinage history. The country was experiencing a time of economic uncertainty, and changes in the way coins were being produced began to emerge. The 1979 Roosevelt dime represents a bridge between the past and the future of American currency. In 1979, the U.S. Mint had recently switched to using a clad coinage system for most of its coins. Clad coins were composed of a core of copper with a thin layer of nickel on the outside, replacing the traditional use of silver. While the Roosevelt dime had already been made with this clad composition for several years, the 1979 version would be part of a larger shift in the minting process that would affect the quality and finish of the coins. The design of the 1979 Roosevelt dime was identical to earlier versions, with Roosevelt's dignified profile and the symbolic elements on the reverse side. But it was the way the coin was minted, and the small but crucial differences in its production, that made the 1979 dime unique. In the late 1970s, the U.S. Mint was still experimenting with different minting techniques, and as a result, some 1979 dimes were struck with an imperfect or less than ideal finish. Some coins were struck with a weak or slightly off-center impression, leading to minor anomalies that would later be highly prized by collectors. In addition to these minor production issues, another key factor contributing to the rarity and appeal of the 1979 Roosevelt dime was the fact that the year marked a significant transition in coinage production. As the U.S. Mint was moving toward more advanced technologies, the 1979 coins were struck using older dies that had already been in use for several years. As these dies began to wear down, they produced coins with slightly different characteristics, such as faded or blurry features, small flaws, and other imperfections. But beyond the technical aspects of its production, the 1979 Roosevelt dime also became a focal point of attention because of a unique variety known as the 1979 P dime. This particular version of the coin, minted at the Philadelphia Mint, carried a subtle yet significant error that would cause it to be remembered in the world of numismatics. It wasn't until the coin started circulating that collectors began to notice something strange. The 1979 P dime had an unusual feature that would become a hallmark of the coin's allure: a distinctive rim bump or die chip in the area where the torch on the reverse side met the edge of the coin. This minor yet noticeable flaw led many collectors to start hunting for the 1979 P dime, believing that it was a rare variety that could potentially fetch a high value in the future. In addition to the rim bump variety, there were also reports of other irregularities in the 1979 dimes, including some coins with unusually weak strikes or slight doubling of the image. These anomalies only added to the mystique of the 1979 Roosevelt dime, and as the years passed, more and more collectors began to focus on this particular year. What was once thought to be an error-prone year for the Roosevelt dime would soon become a treasure trove for those in the know. As the 1980s wore on, the 1979 Roosevelt dime began to gain traction in the numismatic community. What had been seen as a minor flaw in production quickly evolved into a point of interest for serious coin collectors, especially those who specialized in error coins and unusual varieties. The combination of weak strikes, die chips, and other anomalies made the 1979 dime a perfect candidate for numismatists looking for rare pieces with unique characteristics. Over time, the demand for these dimes grew, and the value of certain 1979 dimes began to rise. What really set the 1979 Roosevelt dime apart from other coins of its era, however, was its scarcity. While many millions of dimes were minted in 1979, the particular variations and imperfections that make the 1979 P dime valuable are quite rare. For collectors, finding a 1979 P dime in exceptional condition, or with one of the unique die flaws, became an exciting treasure hunt. As these coins were hoarded or simply circulated and worn out, the remaining examples in pristine condition became increasingly valuable. But what about today? The 1979 Roosevelt dime, which once circulated as part of the everyday coinage, has become a coveted collectible. If you happen to stumble upon a 1979 P dime with a rim bump, a die chip, or other notable flaws, it could be worth a small fortune. In fact, the highest quality 1979 dimes, especially those with noticeable errors, have been sold for as much as $108,700 in some cases. Yes, you heard that correctly, $108,700 for a single dime. The value is driven by the rarity of the coin, the interest in its unique production errors, and the general appeal of Roosevelt dimes among collectors to S.O. How exactly do you determine the value of a 1979 Roosevelt dime? First and foremost, the condition of the coin is paramount. Coins in poor or circulated condition will typically only fetch a small premium above face value. But dimes that have been preserved in excellent or near-mint condition are where the real value lies. Second, the presence of any notable errors, such as the rim bump or weak strike, can significantly increase the value of the coin. Coins with these irregularities, especially those that are in excellent condition, are the ones that command top dollar at auctions or in private sales. The 1979 Roosevelt dime serves as a perfect example of how something seemingly ordinary can gain immense value over time. What began as just another coin in circulation is now a treasure for collectors, and its status has only grown as interest in error coins has surged. The 1979 dime is a reminder that even the most humble pieces of currency can carry with them rich stories and the potential for great value. In conclusion, the 1979 Roosevelt dime is a shining example of how the world of coin collecting is full of surprises. What seemed like a standard issue dime in the late 1970s has now become a highly valuable collectible thanks to its unique production history, rare minting errors, and the passion of collectors who have searched for these elusive coins. With a value of up to $108,700 for some of the finest examples, the 1979 Roosevelt dime is a testament to the unpredictable nature of coinage and the fascinating world of numismatics. So, the next time you come across a 1979 Roosevelt dime, remember, it might just be more than 10 cents. It could be your ticket to a small fortune. Top 4. In 1977, a coin that was barely noticed in everyday transactions would go on to capture the attention of coin collectors and enthusiasts around the world. The 1977 Roosevelt dime, part of the iconic series of dimes honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt, may seem unremarkable at first glance. However, as is often the case in the world of numismatics, seemingly ordinary coins can tell a much deeper story, one filled with history, design intricacies, and surprising value. Join me as we explore the fascinating history, minting details, and the rising collector appeal of the 1977 Roosevelt dime, and stay with us until the end to discover the incredible value of this humble coin today, which is worth a remarkable $16,700 in some cases. To understand the significance of the 1977 Roosevelt dime, we first need to understand the coin's origins and the man it honors. The Roosevelt dime, introduced in 1946, was created to pay tribute to President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who passed away in 1945 after leading the United States through the Great Depression and World War II. Roosevelt's leadership and enduring legacy made him an ideal figure for the U.S. Mint to honor on a coin, and the decision to place his likeness on the dime came just months after his death. Designed by John R. Sinnock, the Roosevelt dime features a portrait of Roosevelt on the obverse, with a dignified and solemn profile facing left. On the reverse side of the coin, Sinnock included a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch, symbols that represent liberty, peace, and strength, respectively. The simple yet powerful design became a staple of American currency, with the Roosevelt dime remaining in circulation for decades. While the dime underwent some small changes over the years, the core design remained largely unchanged, making it one of the most enduring coins in U.S. history. Now, let's fast forward to 1977. By this time, the Roosevelt dime had been in circulation for more than 30 years. The economic landscape of the United States had changed significantly since the coin's introduction, and so too had the technology used in coin production. In the mid-1970s, the U.S. Mint had already moved to a clad composition for most coins, including the dime, in response to rising silver prices. The switch to clad coins meant that the dimes produced after 1965 were composed of a copper-nickel alloy, rather than the 90% silver composition that earlier dimes had been made from. This change made the coins more affordable to produce, but also meant that they no longer carried the intrinsic value of silver. The 1977 Roosevelt dime was minted in large quantities at multiple U.S. mint facilities, including the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The Philadelphia Mint struck the coins without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint added a D mint mark to the reverse of the coins produced there. These dimes would continue to serve as everyday currency throughout 1977, just as they had since their introduction in 1946. However, as the years went by, it would become clear that the 1977 Roosevelt dime would stand out among other dimes due to a combination of factors that would make it highly desirable to collectors, in terms of design. The 1977 Roosevelt dime is no different from any other Roosevelt dime produced during this era. However, the story behind the 1977 coin begins with the minting process itself. The U.S. Mint in the 1970s was still using older dies and presses to strike coins, which led to a variety of subtle differences and imperfections from one coin to the next. Some of the dimes struck in 1977 featured minor issues with the clarity of the design, such as weak strikes or slight doubling of the image. These small imperfections often went unnoticed by the general public, but caught the attention of collectors in the years that followed. In particular, the 1977 Roosevelt dime is known for the occasional double die error. A double die occurs when the coin is struck more than once during the minting process, causing the design to appear doubled in certain areas. This type of minting error is relatively rare and can make a coin significantly more valuable. The presence of a double die on a 1977 Roosevelt dime has made it a highly sought-after item for collectors who specialize in error coins. Aside from the double die error, another feature of the 1977 Roosevelt dime that has contributed to its value is the fact that, like many other coins from this era, the dimes were struck with a relatively high level of detail and precision. This meant that those that were well preserved and remained in excellent condition became valuable over time. Coins from the late 1970s, especially those that were produced in large quantities, tend to experience wear and tear from years of circulation. As a result, finding a 1977 Roosevelt dime in mint or near-mint condition has become something of a rarity, driving its value upward. But how did this seemingly ordinary dime become so valuable? The answer lies in the world of coin collecting, where rarity, condition, and historical significance all play important roles in determining a coin's worth. The 1977 Roosevelt dime is now considered one of the more coveted coins in the Roosevelt dime series, particularly for collectors looking for dimes with unique characteristics or errors. The double die variety, combined with the general scarcity of coins in excellent condition, has made the 1977 dime one of the most prized pieces in the numismatic world. For collectors, finding a 1977 Roosevelt dime in flawless condition or one with a notable error can be akin to discovering hidden treasure. The most valuable 1977 dimes are those that have been preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition. Those that look as though they were just minted yesterday, with no signs of wear or discoloration. These high-grade examples are often graded by professional coin grading services, which assign them a numerical grade that reflects their condition. A 1977 Roosevelt dime in near-perfect condition can fetch several $100s at auction, depending on the specific characteristics of the coin. But the real value comes with the coins that feature a double die error or other notable minting flaws. The rarity of these varieties, coupled with their excellent condition, has driven their prices to staggering heights. In fact, some of the most well-preserved 1977 Roosevelt dimes with these errors have been sold for as much as $16,700, an incredible sum for a coin that originally had a face value of just 10 cents. It's a testament to the allure of rare and unique coins in the world of numismatics, where the right piece, in the right condition, can fetch a life-changing amount of money. So, why is the 1977 Roosevelt dime so valuable? The primary factors driving its worth are the rarity of high-quality specimens, the allure of its minting errors, and the increasing demand among collectors for coins from this era. As time goes on, coins like the 1977 Roosevelt dime become harder to find in good condition, making those that do survive all the more valuable. Error coins, particularly those with double die features, are prized for their uniqueness and their connection to the human element of coin production, the flaws and imperfections that make each coin special in its own right. In conclusion, the 1977 Roosevelt dime is more than just a piece of currency. It's a valuable collectible that has gained significant appeal in the world of numismatics. What once seemed like an ordinary dime has become a highly sought-after coin thanks to its rarity, its historical significance, and the minting errors that have made it a standout in the Roosevelt dime series. With a value of up to $16,700 for certain rare specimens, the 1977 Roosevelt dime serves as a reminder of how small, seemingly insignificant items can hold great value when viewed through the lens of history and rarity. So, the next time you find yourself holding a 1977 Roosevelt dime, take a moment to appreciate the story behind it, and remember, you might just be holding a coin worth thousands of dollars. Top 5. In 1967, A coin that many might have casually passed through their hands without a second thought was quietly making its mark in the world of numismatics. The 1967 Roosevelt dime, part of a series that has become a staple of American currency, was far from ordinary. While it may have appeared to be just another dime in circulation at the time, it held within it a story of historical significance, design craftsmanship, and a future that would see it become a treasure for collectors. But what exactly makes the 1967 Roosevelt dime so special? How did a seemingly mundane coin go on to become a numismatic marvel worth a staggering $133,700 today? Stick around as we take a deep dive into the history, design, and remarkable value of the 1967 Roosevelt dime, and see how this small coin became a highly sought-after collectible. To understand the value of the 1967 Roosevelt dime, we need to look at its origins and the history behind the Roosevelt dime series. First introduced in 1946, the Roosevelt dime was designed to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had passed away the year before. Roosevelt was an iconic figure, having led the United States through the Great Depression and World War II with strength, resolve, and unwavering leadership. The decision to memorialize him on a coin was made by the U.S. Treasury shortly after his death, and the design was created by renowned engraver John R. Sinnock, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. The design of the Roosevelt dime was simple yet powerful. Roosevelt's profile, facing left, portrayed with fine detail, capturing his strong but kind features. The reverse of the coin features a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch, symbols representing liberty, peace, and strength, respectively. The dime quickly became a beloved symbol of Roosevelt's legacy and a key component of American currency for decades to come. Although the design would remain largely unchanged throughout its history, the minting process, the political climate, and the economic factors of each era would influence how these coins were produced, distributed, and valued. By the time 1967 rolled around, the Roosevelt dime had already been in circulation for more than 2 decades. The coin had undergone a significant shift in composition starting in 1965, when the U.S. government, responding to rising silver prices, decided to remove silver from the majority of coins, replacing it with a copper-nickel-clad composition. The 1967 Roosevelt dime was part of this new wave of non-silver dimes, which were made from a core of copper sandwiched between 2 layers of nickel. While this shift was a response to the rising costs of silver, it also signaled the end of an era for coin collectors who would no longer find dimes with a precious metal content. Despite the shift in material, the 1967 Roosevelt dime still maintained its place as a reliable and widely circulated coin in American society. Millions of these dimes were produced by the U.S. Mint, specifically at the Philadelphia and Denver Mint facilities. While Philadelphia-made dimes typically did not carry a mint mark, those minted in Denver bore a D mint mark on the reverse side. These dimes circulated freely throughout the United States and served as part of the everyday currency of the time. The quality of the minting process in 1967 was largely standard for the period, with most coins featuring clear and well-defined images of Roosevelt and the symbolic reverse. However, it would be the subtle variations in some of the 1967 dimes that would eventually bring the coin to the attention of collectors. You see, coin production is an art that requires precision, but it is also prone to human error and mechanical imperfections. For the 1967 Roosevelt dime, some coins were struck with unusual features, slightly doubled or faint images, a weak strike, or irregularities in the design. These imperfections, often overlooked by the general public, would eventually become the key to the 1967 dime's value and appeal to numismatists. Among the most famous variations found in the 1967 Roosevelt dimes is the double die error. A double die occurs when a coin is struck more than once, causing the design to appear doubled in certain areas of the coin. This rare minting error was not unique to the 1967 dimes, but a significant number of these dimes were struck with noticeable doubling, especially on Roosevelt's portrait and the Liberty inscription. This characteristic turned the 1967 Roosevelt dime into a highly desirable coin for collectors who specialized in error coins. Double die varieties are among the most sought-after types of errors in numismatics, and the 1967 Roosevelt dime quickly became a prized possession for collectors looking to add a rare error to their collections. But the appeal of the 1967 Roosevelt dime doesn't stop with its errors. The year 1967 also marks a time of profound change in the United States. The country was in the midst of the Vietnam War, and political and social unrest was sweeping across the nation. This time of change in American society, combined with the transition to non-silver coinage, gave the 1967 dime a unique place in U.S. history. Coins from this era carry with them a sense of the period they were minted in, and the 1967 Roosevelt dime serves as a historical artifact of an American experience marked by both conflict and progress. As time went on, the 1967 Roosevelt dime became more than just a coin. It became a collectible treasure. While most 1967 dimes are worth little more than their face value of 10 cents, a select few dimes from this year, especially those featuring errors like the double die, have seen their values soar. The combination of the coin's historical significance, the rarity of certain varieties, and the growing interest in error coins have turned the 1967 Roosevelt dime into a highly sought-after piece among collectors. But what makes this coin truly extraordinary is its value. While the typical 1967 Roosevelt dime might only be worth a few dollars, certain specimens of the coin, particularly those with significant double die errors or those in pristine condition, have fetched incredible prices at auction, reaching values of up to $133,700. The $133,700 price tag is a testament to the rarity and desirability of the 1967 Roosevelt dime. This value is driven not only by the double die errors, but also by the coin's condition. Coins that have been carefully preserved in mint state, free from the usual wear and tear that dimes accumulate during circulation, are worth far more than those that have been handled over the years. A coin in near-perfect condition, especially one with a double die or another unique error, can command astronomical prices in the right market. And it's not just the errors that increase the value. Coins with well-defined, sharp images and minimal signs of wear are also highly coveted by collectors. The 1967 Roosevelt dime's journey from an everyday coin to a collectible treasure is a perfect example of how the world of numismatics can turn the most unlikely pieces of currency into valuable and sought-after objects. What was once a coin in widespread circulation is now a rare gem, especially for those who know where to look and what to look for. For collectors, finding a high-quality 1967 Roosevelt dime, one with a minting error or in pristine condition, can be a thrilling experience, akin to striking gold.so. How can you tell if your 1967 Roosevelt dime is worth more than just a few cents? First, examine the condition of the coin. If it's well-worn, it's likely not going to be worth much more than face value. But if the coin is in mint or near-mint condition, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Next, look for any signs of doubling or other minting errors. These errors are what truly make the 1967 Roosevelt dime valuable. The more pronounced the error, the higher the coin's value. If you suspect you have a valuable 1967 Roosevelt dime, it's always a good idea to have it professionally graded by a certified numismatist to ensure you know exactly what you have. In conclusion, the 1967 Roosevelt dime is far more than just a piece of currency from the late 1960s. It is a piece of American history, a testament to the enduring legacy of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, and a shining example of how small, seemingly insignificant coins can turn into treasures over time. Whether it's the double die error, the rarity of pristine specimens, or simply the historical significance of the era in which it was minted, the 1967 Roosevelt dime has earned its place in the world of numismatics. With a value of up to $133,700 for certain rare examples, this coin is a reminder that sometimes, the most unassuming pieces of currency can hold immense value. So, the next time you find yourself holding a 1967 Roosevelt dime, take a moment to appreciate its story and remember that you might just be holding a coin worth far more than you ever expected.